guys, welcome back to the channel. And for this one right here, I wanted to give you guys a character review on one of the members of the Sinister Six, Doc Connors, aka Lizard. Now I want to say this really quickly before I jump into this review. If you're new to the game, or not even if you're new to the game, if you're someone that finds that you run out of supervillains when you're making your way through Shadowland, you should be farming for the members of the Sinister Six. They're going to make your life significantly easier. However, if Doc Connors is your favorite, or for that matter you just like him more than you like the others, he should still not be the first one you farm for. Because in my opinion, based on testing the majority of them, he, in my opinion, is ranked 5th out of the 6 of them. Okay, so even though I can find stuff for him to do inside Shadowland, he should not be your first priority. Your first priority should be Vulture, because he's the best of the lot by far. Trust me guys, I don't have him completely built up yet, but I've been able to face off against some Vultures in Timeline, Battle World, and Alliance Conquest, and that guy is nasty. He's actually killed my Jean Grey before, which is crazy to think because there's not many tier 1 native characters. Granted, he was tier 2 at the time, but there's not that many tier 1 native characters outside of like Sharon Rogers that can actually take down a Jean Grey. And I've heard several people say the exact same thing, that their Vulture is actually a monster. And I'm inclined to believe them. This guy is actually incredible. I can't wait to finish mine. He should be your first priority. However, if you're free to play or kind of a freemium like me and you're really stingy and you don't want to drop a ticket on him and you're going to be farming him slowly over time, he's going to take you a while and you're probably going to have him done after you have the entire set, similar to me. So before you build someone like Lizard, you should be building Sandman because he's 2nd, Kraven because he's 3rd, Mysterio because he's 4th, then Lizard because he's 5th, and Rhino dead last. I just wanted to say that really quickly because I know that a lot of you guys are having a hard time with Shadowland now that there's more villain stages. Now let's jump into this guy's kit, man. Now let's look at some of the pros and some of the cons that this guy comes with. First big pro in this guy's kit is his leadership. He has a self-buffing leadership, so when you use him, you don't have to worry about finding a leadership for him. He buffs his own damage. This right here is a good reason alone to get him to 6-star and get him to 6-star mastery, because you can never have too many of these leaderships. Trust me guys. Next thing about this kit that is actually good is his 5 skill. It's a really big buff, and the most notable things in here right now is the fact that he decreases all damage received by 25%, on top of the fact that he gives himself an all attack increase by 15%. There's some good stats in here, but those are the 2 most noticeable things for me. On a 30-second cooldown, max skill cooldown, you can get that down to 15 seconds. So you can keep this up all the time. So great 5 skill right here. 4 skill right here, doesn't show it, but it has a stun on it. This is his highest damaging skill. However, this skill right here is a single target suppression type skill, meaning when you're up against multiple enemies, it's not going to do very well for you because he's going to be targeting one of the enemies, and since it's not an iframe, the other enemies are going to be hitting you from the back and from the sides, and he's going to be punished very, very badly. So it's a great skill in terms of damage. It's his highest damaging skill, but it also comes with a big risk as well. Next good thing about this kit right here, 4-star passive, 75% health. He actually regenerates 3% of his max HP. Doesn't seem like a lot, but if you scale this with an Obelisk and give him invincibility, it bumps up his survivability exponentially. Right here, next thing about his kit, this 3 skill is another buff. It increases his attack speed by 13.5%, and it increases physical attack by 15%. Keep that in mind. It increases physical attack, which means that it won't interfere with the buff from the 5 skill. So you can stack this with the 3 skill and they won't interrupt each other. So great way to scale his damage. 3 skill is an iframe, 2 skill is an iframe, 1 skill is a risky skill. Don't really use it that often. Wouldn't recommend you use it. So that's it for the pros in this guy's kit. His tier 2 passive is kind of lackluster. However, since he has a lot of buffs in his kit, it is a good passive for him. I wish it did more though. So it's not a wasted tier 2 passive. It's gonna bump up his buffs and bump up his healing. So definitely not a wasted tier 2 passive, but overall, he's not really that great of a character, mainly for the fact that he does not have a lot of AoE attack type skills. He doesn't have that. He has one stun, and the rest of his skills, well, not the rest of them, all of his skills are just single target suppression type skills. So when he's in an encounter that has multiple enemies attacking him at the same time, he will be punished. And if you can't stun the enemy with the one stun that he has, you will be punished. He has a couple iframes in here, but that's not going to be enough to save him. So that's why I feel like he's not that great of a character, even though he has the potential to hopefully one day be great. If he had a larger radius on some of his skills, he would be significantly better than he is right now. However, he can still pull off a couple solos for you on stuff like the speed relay or some villain relays inside Shadowland. I'm still testing him out against the Rumbles, but it's not looking good so far. Let me know if you guys have been able to solo a Rumble with him. I've heard people say they've tried him in a wave mode, but wave mode just has way too many enemies. I don't feel like he will do well there. Outside of Shadowland, I would say keep him in Conquest as a leader, and that's about it. Don't want to put him in World Boss, even though World Boss Beginner and World Boss Normal, he may be able to get you a solo, but in the current state of the game right now, you don't need him. There's significantly better options, okay? As for a rotation with this guy, the safest rotation I've found using him is actually the 5, the 3, and the 2, and you just keep spamming the freaking 3. However, for me, I play risky. I want to win right away, so I squeeze in the 4 as much as I can, put pressure on the enemy, and in most cases, I get the win. I do take some damage, but I want the fight over ASAP. I don't want to drag it out too much with this guy and risk losing. As for an ISO set with this guy, I rolled for Overdrive, and I feel like this is the best possible ISO set for him. Reason being, if you take a look at his 5 skill right here, he gets all speed increased by 10%. On top of that, he actually gets another 13% from his 3 skill. So right there, you're looking at 23% once you hit this. If you have any attack speed coming from your cards, you're already hitting the cap. So not recommended to get Power of Angry Hulk. Only other option is Hawk's Eye, and that's if you need the skill cooldown. My opinion, go for Overdrive. Don't even think about putting anything else on him besides an offensive ISO set, because his damage may actually just end up being too low for you to do anything with him. That's just my personal opinion. You can't build him for PvP because he's not going to do well in PvP. He might do well in Conquest, but to be honest, anyone can do well in Conquest if you slap an invincibility obelisk on them. And by do well, I mean they stay alive long enough for the stronger people on your team to get you the win. Next thing here is the obelisk. This is a temporary obelisk, and the main reason it's here is just because it had the poison damage. Mainly though, you'd want crit damage or ignore defense or both, and then invincibility. If you get crit damage, ignore defense, and invincibility, that would be great. But for me, I'm trying to roll for crit damage and max HP and invincibility, or ignore defense, max HP and invincibility. I want the max HP because I want to scale his healing a little bit and give him a little bit more survivability. If either way though, if you go ahead and not put ignore defense or you don't put crit damage, you gotta fix that with Urus, because you still want to try and get as close to the cap as possible. Let me go ahead and show you guys what the stats on this guy look like. So as you guys can see right here, I have skill cooldown maxed out because that is always my #1 priority. Next, I have 32% for ignore defense because I didn't get any on the obelisk. So that means I'm going to have to put Urus on him for ignore defense for sure. I have 189% crit damage, which is great. 47% for crit rate, pretty decent. I have 123% attack speed. 123%, that is more than you need, because remember, once you hit the 5 skill, once you hit the 3 skill, you're getting an additional 20% and you're already over the cap. So ideally, you want about 110, and that's enough, because those are 2 of the most important skills in his kit, and you want to try and keep those up all the time throughout the fight. And as for his gears, the majority are sitting at 19, and the last one is rolled for skill cooldown because that's what I needed in order to make sure that he hit the cap of 50%. So let's go ahead and take this guy into Shadowland and see just how he does. So I'm on floor 1 because it's the day after the reset. So let's try and get a solo out this guy and show him some love. There you go. Let's do it. Alright, Doc. Let's do it. Yeah, run into the poison, you idiot. And what you guys will notice that even with the 5 skill up all the time, he still can't take a bunch of damage. Otherwise, he'll die real quickly if you don't have invincibility on him. So that's why you want to get some healing. But yeah, it's clear time. Pretty impressive, but keep in mind that I have him built pretty well. So yeah, guys, that's it for this one. Let me know how you feel about Lizard. If you think he's significantly better than I said, let me know some of the things you've been able to do with him, man. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.